Hi, hello, and welcome everyone. Welcome to Tech Hub. Today we are going to talk about Sessions Manager for accessing your EC2 instances when you do not intend to access your EC2 instances using a private key from your local computer or systems. So we are going to talk about the Sessions Manager from the AWS Systems Manager. So we are going to see how to enable browser-based SSH tunnel for EC2 instances. So we are going to talk about Sessions Manager for some time, and then we are going to look at the use cases and application of Sessions Manager, and then we are going to start with a lab wherein I am going to show you how to activate this Sessions Manager for your EC2 instances. And we would also have a quick look at alternate methods that AWS provides you to access your EC2 instances. I mean, if you are not inclined towards using your traditional ways of accessing your EC2 instances. So moving ahead, so as for what is a Sessions Manager? So Sessions Manager is a component of AWS Systems Manager that allows you to manage your instance through a browser-based shell or AWS CLI. So I'll quickly show you what we are talking about, and for that let's move to our console and let's have a look at. So suppose for this instance I have already enabled the Sessions Manager, so I can go to connect, and on Sessions Manager tab I can connect it directly from my browser console, and I don't need to configure my SSH agent like putty or use my environment on local system to access the EC2 instance. So I even if I'm not opening the SSH port, I can directly go inside of my EC2 instance. So yeah, as you can see here, so this is my EC2 instance, and I mean this is the folder structure here. So you could see that like I am able to access the instance directly from my browser console. Now we'll be talking about the use cases and everything, but we'll come back to it. So going back to where we were, so it uses a lightweight agent installed on your EC2 instances to execute server management tasks accessible through the console, and this also eliminates the requirement of bastion hosts or jump servers to go inside of your EC2 instance. And this tool can be extremely helpful if you have lost communication to your EC2 instances via your normal methods like your private key if you have misplaced. We'll talk in detail about the use cases in the next slide. So suppose you have an EC2 instance in your AWS account which is either running or in stop state, and your private key is missing, and you cannot SSH into your EC2 instance from your local computer. So this method can come in handy at that instance. So secondly, you want to install new public private key for your EC2 instance, for which you need access to the EC2 instance, right? So this can be one way of gaining access and then replacing your public private key pair. Suppose if you have lost your original one, and then if you want to log into your instance from a browser-based SSH terminal like I showed you, and you want to do that in order to just avoid those steps of configuring your SSH client or using the command line SSH commands to log into your EC2 instance. And last but not the least, suppose if you want to avoid setting up a bastion or a jump server in order to connect to your EC2 instance, which are inside of your private subnet. So now, so these were the 4 use cases. There could be many more, but these are a few that I could think of as of now. So now coming on to the lab, we would be taking a couple of steps here. Number one, it would involve creating a IAM role, which we are going to attach to our EC2 instance, and we would attach the correct policies there for the SSM to work on your EC2 instance. And then what we'll be doing is that we'll be attaching that role to your EC2 instance, and we'll be moving forward to see if that lets us connect the instance via the Sessions Manager. So let's go back to the console, and I will go back to the EC2 instance. And first and foremost, what we'll do is that I'll launch a new instance. So let me go to the instances. I'll launch an instance, and I'll just pick up the standard Linux instance. You could take any of these instances, because all the latest generation AMIs, they pre-install the SSH agents, the SSM agents on the instances that are launched. So nothing to worry about that there. And I'll just choose T2 Micro, and then what I'll do is that I will launch it in the 1A availability zone, and then I would enable the public IP for this instance. So I'll enforce that the instance is launched with a public IP. And you can see here that I'm not attaching any role as of now, because I'm yet to create a role. So first let me launch the instance and show you if the SSM manager, sessions manager, is activated by default or not. So in the configure security group, I will use a security group that I have already created, that is enabling SSH with HTTP and HTTPS, and I will launch the instance, and I'm going to use one of the keys that I have already created earlier. So let's go back to view the instance that has been launched recently. So this is the instance, so I will just rename this instance to SSM, okay. So I think I should rename it SSM. Okay, anyways, let's keep it that way. And now let's check on the connect option, and you can see here that the sessions manager is not activated by default here. So here what we need to do is that we have to go to the IAM section, and we need to create a role to provide the right privileges for the SSM to work. So what we can do is that once in, we can go to roles, and we'll create a role and click on AWS services, and in common use case, because this role we are creating for the EC2 instance. Click on EC2, click on next, and we are going to look for a policy called I'll just filter by SSM, and here you could see that there is a policy called Amazon SSM managed instance core. So just select this policy and proceed to create this role. So I would provide it SSM So I'm calling it SSM managed profile, and I would now create this role. So it says creating the role. So now that the role is created, let's go back and see. Okay, so we have this policy attached, and you can have a look at the permissions of the policy. So now we go back to EC2 instance that we created, and you could see that under security there is no role attached to this instance. So what we'll do is that we will go to actions, security. Okay, let's go back. Okay, let me go this way. Security, modify IAM role. I don't know why the access was not available from inside. So now what we are going to do is we are going to choose an IAM role, and you can see that the role is appearing here what we created just now. So just select this role and just save. Once this profile is attached to the instance, this IAM role is attached to the instance, it will take some time to come into effect. So wait for 5 minutes and come back and check this sessions manager. You will find it activated. So what I will do is I will pause the video and I'll come back. And it's been now a couple of minutes and we are on the same instance, and you could see that the connect option is now appearing. So we can just click on connect now, and that's it. We could see that now we are able to SSH into our instance. And here is our tunnel into our EC2 instance, and we can use this tunnel for like whatever operations we want to perform on our EC2 instance. So that's all for this video, and that's all that we can cover in this video to keep it short and precise. And I meet you in the next video on the same topic, wherein I'll show you how to enable the same option when you are trying to make it work for a EC2 instance that is running in a private subnet. So just to give you a quick info bit on this is that right now the instance that I used was having a public IP address. Okay, so next time, if in the next video, what I'll do is that I'll launch a private instance which will not have any public IP. It will just have a private IP, and in that case we'll see like how to activate. So basically these steps would be there for enabling the SSM for a private instance, but there are some additional steps that needs to be taken to enable SSM manager for a private instance. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.